Hello and good evening, Hope High School. This is Mr. Buehnerkemper coming to you live from my home. And I also have with me a couple of guests, not so much guests, but we have Mrs. O'Connell with us as well as Mr. Portillo. Mrs. O'Connell will be coming online in just a few moments, and Mr. Portillo will be in the background. So if you have questions in the chat, he can do his best to answer them, or he will bring them up at the end to answer after we have started our presentation. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome on Mrs. O'Connell. Welcome, Mrs. O'Connell.
Hi, Hope High School. Hi, Mr. Buehnerkemper. Hi, Diamonds and Families. How are you? Well, type in and let us know how you're doing today.
Yes,
I hope everybody is well and healthy.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. We'll have a presentation and we'll be on the side. If you have any questions, you're welcome to put them into the chat. And we will do our best to answer them. We may answer your questions as we go through, and that's totally fine. But feel free to put your questions in the chat as we go, and we'll get there. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started.
And before we go on, I just want to say, for those of you who don't know, Mr. B is our wonderful assistant principal and the technical guru for all things Hope High School, as many of you know from speaking with him about so many things. So today we're actually here to talk to you a little bit about transitioning to term 2 and the school year and safety. And to answer the number one question that we get asked is, when do we return to school? And hopefully I can at least sort of answer that question for you. So today what we're going to talk about is we are going to review our school area pandemic benchmarks. We're going to look at some important information for school and where to find it. We'll talk about scheduling on-site learning. So if you do need to send your student, or as a student, if you need to be on campus for additional on-site learning, we'll let you know how to do that. We'll show you how to use our Bling page, which has a ton of important information. We'll let you know how to submit a course once you've completed it. And we'll let you know about some updates for term 2. Thank you, Mr. B. So the first and most important thing that we wanted to discuss was COVID safety and returning to school. As many of you guys who know me as a principal and have been to our school in the past know, safety is my number one priority. And that has not changed at all. And it is especially important to us now. And so for the decision to reopen school, we are going with the Arizona Department of Health guidelines and the Maricopa County School Reopening Dashboard. And so if you'd like to check it out, we've included the website that we utilize and how to get there on this slideshow. But it's pretty simple if you Google it. And that's where we went ahead and pulled the metrics for the areas closest to us, which per the recommendation includes our zip code and our nearby school district. Based on the metrics from the Maricopa County Department of Health, there are 3 types of scenarios for going back to school. There's the traditional learning scenario, which is how we came to school last year, where students were on campus for their AM or PM shift for that entire shift. And all students were on campus and we were all close and comfy with each other. Obviously, that is not the safe alternative. Our goal this year is to be in hybrid learning scenario 2, which means that it is safe to return to campus with some students on campus and some students off campus, so that we can practice much better social distancing and safety precautions. And that is when we are at a moderate safety threat for COVID. The third scenario that we are in right now is the virtual school scenario, with on-site support. We are in scenario number 3. Right now, virtual learning includes online and offline options, but we are always learning and we are always improving, and we are certainly not perfect in this crazy time. And so I know for term 2, your experience with the virtual learning should be better than term 1. And, we're always doing the best we can to learn and grow, as you guys are as well. If you look at the next slide, what you're seeing here is a zip code map from that the Maricopa County Department of Health website for our zip code where our school location is. And you can see that that's in red. And then this is what the recommendation is. Based on our zip code, the overall risk level is still substantial, and the recommended learning scenario is still virtual with on-site support. And this is as of yesterday evening. This is a slightly broader perspective, and this is the Tolleson Union High School District, which is our nearest district, and many of our students come from this area. And as you can see, it's red, but on the borders, there's some yellow, and so that is some better news. And if you look at those metrics as well, you'll see that the overall risk level is still substantial. But the recommended learning scenario is still virtual with on-site support, but you can see that at least one of those metrics is in the yellow, and so it's looking a lot better for our area. And actually, some good news that was just reported a few minutes ago from the Maricopa County from the Arizona Department of Health is that Maricopa County as a whole has met the benchmarks, and they are now recommending that hybrid instruction. So that's for the broader county. And so what that means to us is that it's probably a lot closer for us in our zip code and us in our neighborhood school district to get to that yellow metric for hybrid instruction. Good so news. We are almost there, but we are not quite there for the start of term 2. The good news is we're almost done with term 1. Term 2 is about to begin. And fortunately for us, we set up our schedule in 6-week terms so we can inform our parents in enough time and give you enough time to make quick decisions as you need to in terms of your students' health and safety. And I'll give you some information about that as we start our hybrid instruction, but we're not quite there yet. So I don't want to confuse everybody. I will answer any questions that you have about it. But right now, what I will say is that it looks like we're going to stay remote through our second 6-week term. Fortunately, that's not an entire quarter. It is just a 6-week term. And that term begins the 14th of September and it goes through the 30th of October. We will be remote, but we will have some improvements to our remote formatting that I can't wait to tell you about in a little bit. So here's some really important information and where to find it. First of all, any information about distance learning on our campus, about on-site learning and support on our campus, about our safety mitigation strategies for when we do come back to campus is all public knowledge and is all on our website, which is hopehighschool.org. When you click on our website at the very front, just below where you see the links to our live streams, you will see where it says learn more. That's our response to COVID-19, and that's where our important information is. If you click on there, what you will see is our distance learning plan, our mitigation plan for what's going to happen when we return, and everything that is going to look like, and our on-site learning and support services that we do offer. Mr. B? So now the on-site learning and support is something that parents have asked about. They want to know, how can I schedule on-site learning? Because that will help us in our family if our child has a place to go to learn. All you have to do is contact your advisor for a scheduling link so you can schedule yourself for the Learning Lab. And it's just a one-time use scheduling link, so it's just for you. It's not for another student. And that's how we know that our Learning Lab stays safe and that we can limit the capacity in there. And how, may you ask, Mr. B, would a student find out who their advisor is, how to get a hold of their advisor, all of those questions?
That's a great question. New this year, we have what we've called Bling, just playing on the diamonds theme. And Bling is a place for students to find the links to the time log, which is very important because this is how we mark you as present. It's extremely important for all of our students to log their time at least weekly. Remember that we expect attendance, which is time logged or time worked every day. So that'd be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And we're looking for 20 hours a week. However, just logging any time at all on your classwork is considered present. And so very, very important for you to stay enrolled as a student, for you to make sure you log that time. And this is a great place to do it because we've got a special link right there just for you. It pre-fills your name, your email address. It even puts in the dates of the previous week for you. So on Fridays, Friday afternoons we send out an email, and you'll also be able to go to the Bling page and click on the link there. So very important to log that time. We just pre-fill like 8 to noon, Monday through Friday. If that's not exactly or even approximately what you do, no big deal, you can change it. And if that's about what you do, then go ahead and submit that and sign off on those hours. The next thing you'll see on there is a list of courses. You'll also see your login information for your courses, as well as your contact information for your teachers and your advisor. And then the last thing, of course, is your return to school survey, which I'll talk about in just a moment. So what we're here for is all of these things. Most importantly is how to contact your advisor so that you can sign up for that OnSite Learning Lab. What you're going to do is head over to hopehighschool.org. That's a great place to start for many things. The student portal can be found by clicking on Students. On your phone, you may need to click on Menu and then scroll down to click on Students. Next, you'll look for the button that says Bling. Right now, it's a blue button, and it says just the word Bling, all lowercase. And once you click on that, you'll be taken to the login page. Now, you don't need to remember any login information because all you need to use is your birth date, which you should remember, and your last name, which you should remember. So as long as you remember your birth date and your last name, you can access your very own Bling page. And when you do access that, you will see all of this information. It seems like a little bit much, but it's like your one-stop shop. It's got your course list, all your active courses, your teachers, where you're taking those courses in case you forgot whether you were doing paper or switched online or whatever, your email for your teacher, their phone extension. It'll have your advisor's name, their email address and extension, which is who you need to contact to sign up for OnSite Learning services. It'll have your login information at the very bottom. And then those buttons in the middle, the blue button will be the time log, which is pre-filled with all the dates. It has the dates right there, which dates it pre-fills for. If you don't really want those pre-filled dates, totally fine, use the gray button. And lastly, if you see a red button there, we have not yet heard back from you what you want when we return to school. And again, we will be sharing more information about that in the coming weeks, but the survey actually gives all the information you need for when we return, which are the 3 options. 1, you can stay completely online, fully virtual, all online classes. 2, you can come fully in person, all on site. And 3, you can do a hybrid model where you're on campus some days of the week and at home some days of the week. So those are your 3 options, and we're just asking that you tell us what those are so that we can plan ahead. There is a capacity thing, and so we want to make sure that we have enough room for the people who need to be here. And so the sooner you fill that information, the better. And again, if you have questions, feel free to add them in the comments.
And really, it is first come, first serve in terms of getting the on-campus scheduling. Any student is always able to be an off-campus student, to be an online student if they choose. That's especially important for safety reasons. But in terms of becoming an online student, it is to the point where we have safe capacity on our campus, which means our classes are about half full because we do want to maintain social distancing and safety in those classes. Now, Mr. B, you hear a lot of students asking or calling in to complete their courses to say, I've completed my course. I need you, Mr. B, to turn this in. I hear, Miss O'Connell, would you submit my class? Our advisors always hear, would you submit my class? But the reality is your teacher's the one who grades the class, right? And so can you explain a little bit about submitting completed courses?
Yeah, so what you need to know as a student and a parent is that the only person who can actually submit your course is the teacher, and that's a legal thing. The teacher is the one who signs off on the grade that you receive, and it's a good thing because they're the expert. They're the one who has taught you or provided the content to you, and so you want to make sure that they're the ones assessing what that is. Also, some students will work with the teacher one-on-one, and so they take that into account. Maybe you have extra credit or alternative assignments, and so they're the only person who knows that. If anyone else submits your grade, they won't know those things. We're not magic. We don't read minds. So very important that your teacher is the only person who submits your class. So that's who you need to contact when you finish your course. They do their best to keep an eye on things, but you can always get in touch with them, shoot them an email or a phone call, and get in touch with them. Again, only person who can submit your class. And then the next part of that is if you want a new class, the only person who can add a new class is your advisor. And so you need to get in touch with them. Those are probably the two most important people for your future at Hope High School are whoever your teacher is for your class and your advisor. You need to know them very well, get to know them, know how to contact them, email, phone, whatever, because they're the ones who serve you directly. We are here for you as administrators. We want to support you, but we're not the ones who can do that stuff because they have to sign off and they know all the things about your class.
And now normally, once a teacher submits a class, the advisor is going to put in the grade and probably give you a new class if you need one right then.
Yeah.
But if you don't yet, because you're still working on some other class, they may wait till the start of the next term to
Correct.
go ahead and get you a new class. But if you're eager and you want to start sooner, or you have a question about your new class, you definitely contact your advisor, but you don't have to every time your
you don't
courses
have to
change.
You don't have to. Right now, you may not be able to get a new class right away, but if you want that, get in touch with your advisor and they'll see what they can do totally. Right now, we're just in a weird transition time with some new classes, new course offerings, so we'll talk about in a moment. And so we want to make sure that we have those ready for you, and the teacher's deadline to get those ready are by September 14th. So we don't want to jump the gun too much, but if there is a need for you to get going sooner, just contact your advisor. All right. Speaking of updates for term 2, here we are.
I'm so excited to share some of our updates. We're always trying to improve services to our students. One of the reasons that we chose asynchronous instruction using Edgenuity or Alex, which are the online programs that our students are familiar with using on our campus, and offline packets, is that we thought it would be what is most familiar to our students and what is easiest for them to access with the strange schedules that all of you guys have. I talk to my students all the time, and I know that so many of you are working and so many of you are watching siblings. And then there are those of you who just want to go and get your classes done. And so we wanted to give you the option to do whatever it is you needed. But what we found over the course of term 1 is that we really need to have some more touch points between students and their teachers, as well as their classmates. So for term 2, what students can experience is that they will be reached out to by both of their teachers for their 2 classes, and they will be invited to a weekly Zoom or Google Hangouts meeting for a group of their peers so that questions can be answered, so that support can be given, so that examples can be provided, so that social and emotional supports are available, and so that, young people want to see one another and socialize. And if you don't want to see one another, but want to at least hear one another, then that becomes an option as well. And so that is one of the updates for term 2. Another update we found is that not all students completed both of their courses. In order to assist our students complete those courses and not lose time and not lose credit, all students who haven't completed their term 1 courses will be assigned a study skills course that will allow them to complete those courses with additional supports, and they would earn an elective credit in addition to the credit for completing that term 1 course. They will also get a second course that is their core course for the term, which is again a 6-week term, 2 courses a term. If they haven't finished term 1, they got to do that. So they'll get a study skills and another core course. And the study skills is just an opportunity to finish term 1 successfully with help, with guidance, with social emotional learning supports. And finally, we have some exciting new course offerings. All of our math classes are going to be taught, and a majority of our social studies classes will be taught. All of our English classes are going to be taught in exciting new ways. And we are also going to be having some cool new career-focused electives. Please let your advisor know if you are interested in small business entrepreneurship, or if you are interested in fire and EMT sciences, and if you are interested in allied health fields, that's like medical assisting and nursing assisting and phlebotomy and all of those fields in allied health. So if any of those career areas are something you want to try out and see if you're interested in, we now offer courses in those fields, and they're great for when you apply to future schools and programs to have on your transcript.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our presentation, and would like to thank you for tuning in. And if you're tuning in to the recorded session, thank you for taking the time to watch. If you are here, we would love to take your questions. You're welcome to put them into the comments. And if you are watching recorded and you don't get to ask a question, you can go ahead and give us a call at our number 623-772-8013, or you can contact your advisor. Hang on, buddy. Good timing.
Were there any other questions from the gallery, Mr. Portillo?
Doesn't look like it.
Well, I hope we were able to provide some clarity, or at least slightly less confusion, maybe in some cases more confusion, but maybe now you can really think about it and have some questions that you can ask us tomorrow or next week. And we are always here for you. Remember, click on your time log link, either in the email we send you Friday evening or on hopehighschool.org, students, Bling, and the time log. And if you are an on-paper student, then please just fill out your time log on paper when you turn in your coursework. Thank you so much. It was lovely to chat with you.
All righty.